Makes it too dark, doesn't it? Okay, so I set the AF lock. I set it right on the horizon. I touched it right on the horizon. Actually, I want to see what these people are doing, so this might block that out for a bit. See if I can figure out what this is about. Some sort of sporting event. Okay, that's not working, is it? Yeah, so the whole purpose today was to go out and get the sun as it, this nice autumn sun as it passes through the leaves of fresh leaves, green leaves, especially look kind of translucent or something. If you can find anything green left, it's all turned brown and all that. Yeah, and the sun's gone. But I always wondered if the camera would pick it up. Be the best way to see it, probably. Like, there's those lights over there. I think that's probably Grouse Mountain. No. What's that other one out there? So we got 3 ski hills. We got Cypress, Grouse, and Seymour. Cypress, yeah, Cypress. That might be Cypress Mountain out there, actually. The furthest one out, I think, is Cypress, and Grouse is somewhere in there, tucked in there. I don't think you can see it, unless that's no. Grouse is right ahead of me. Yeah, so you can see all 3 ski hills from here. I'm pretty sure. I couldn't have gotten this wrong, could I? Because I know that there's places around here that you can see Grouse Mountain, and it's just like, okay, yeah, there's Grouse Mountain, because it's a big scar on the side of the mountain. It looks cool, but, you know, I'm just saying you can see it. And then there's, would that be Seymour there? And then that range of mountains up in the Pitt River. I'm just would like to see that whole thing closer. That range of mountains there. I'll try to AF lock right on that. That's set on the horizon. AF lock is set on the horizon. Yeah, I've been closer to it. And it looks surprisingly similar. That's one of the things I've found when I went up. It's a couple of times I've just tried to get up closer to mountains, right? In this part of the world. And traveled a pretty good distance directly in their direction, right? You know, for me, it's probably an hour on the bus. It goes in 15 different directions. It's all that, right? But, you know, it is a distance. You can, you know, it's like 5-10 kilometers closer to something, and it looks like it's the same distance it was when you left. A little bit it's like that. I've had that experience a few times. Death Valley had to be. Oh, why don't I just tell stories on this thing? Yeah, so we tried one time walking across Death Valley, and well, that was something, because you thought you could just at least get closer to the mountain over there to get a better look at it, sort of, or whatever, right? And it's not like we went that far or anything, but yeah, it was interesting. There's just nothing, no change whatsoever. Walk for an hour and a half towards something, and because you want to go out on a piece of flat land like that anyway. It's not as if you're doing nothing. You know, if you go straight out into a big flat sand, whatever, you know. It's where they drive the race cars and all that kind of stuff, right? I forget what those things. Salt flats, sand flats. They're not salt, so they're not salt flats, but. Yeah, I think that when I look back at my life, one thing that I'm really sure about is that I really appreciate having had the amount of opportunity I've had to travel. That's one thing that I think is really kind of significant, almost. What a difference it makes just to hit that AF lock. I'm learning impaired, so I have to do things a lot of times. AF lock, AF lock, AF lock. Just keep saying it over and over again in my head, because otherwise I forget. Some green stuff over there. But, yeah, I don't know. A lot of community groups make use of the park area for various sorts of functions. Sorry, there we go. Sorry about that. Just pointing the camera up at the trees is good enough. I don't know that many places in the world actually have such wild ass trees as we have, do they? Sorry. It's like they're schizoid or something. They don't know if they're trees or what. But they lose in that battle against the wind, that's for sure. That's what it is. And it eventually straightens out again, I guess. Usually, right? I don't really grow off in that direction for too far. And this isn't a particularly rich example of what I'm talking about anyway, but I mean, even when they're not anything special, they're cool. So there's no way, I guess, eh? Oh, look at this. That's the sun. Okay, I got a goal. Sorry. Yeah, our goal is to see where the sun is. It's always important to have a purpose in life. And I wonder if the more ridiculous the purpose, the better. Kind of like a Don Quixote thing, I don't know. I don't know anything about Don Quixote. But he lived in a kind of a la-la land and seemed to have quite a lot of adventures. Probably was fairly satisfied with his life. I don't know. I really don't know anything about it. He kept, I don't know, I forget who it was, but it was somebody pretty smart, somebody educated. And I don't know what it was, the topic du jour it was at that time, but I've always got one, right? For whatever reason, it just seems to be the case. I've always got something. Keeps my attention for a while, right? Yeah, and somebody said, I think this is like a stock phrase, right? But I think he said, keep slaying those windmills, Dawn. I think that's what he said, Dawn. Like, what? So yeah, slaying windmills. I wouldn't be surprised if I was. Oh, this is kind of like a nice old country road feel almost. It really is, isn't it? Never been down here before. It's a new adventure for me. This tree looks like a Hiroshima bomb. This place. So I realized that I might not be in town for Halloween, and that bugged me. I want to be here for Halloween for sure. This is great Halloween type care. Okay, there it is. That's where it comes from, right down there. See See if we can get a little closer. I don't think so. This is as good as she gets. There we go. Got her right in the middle there. That's what happens when you muck around. Darken it out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just keep touching the screen where it's the brightest. Keep touching the brightest part of the screen. That's the first time I've put it into words like that, right? Keep tapping the part of the screen that's the brightest. It takes the technology out of it, right? Like just to do AF log, right? It's new vocabulary. So I have to remember the vocabulary, and for whatever reason, I find some vocabulary just impossible to remember. Look at this place. It's huge. Wow, you got a tree fort. Wow. So he's always had the park. Yeah, that's a nice piece of real estate right there. I hope that stays the same. Yeah, I guess I'm worried about what's going to happen as all these big buildings go in. That everybody's championing the cause, right? But they're all people that are making money off of it, right? For the rest of us, it's it's exciting. I mean, it's not as if it's not exciting, but like out at Deer Lake, I just realized I want to live around these trees. I want to live around BC coast trees. Are fantastic. Look how artistic they are. Of course, I'm talking about that one right there, right? You always got something going on. Okay, so that fumbling around with the... So essentially what's happened there is I just lost control of my device. I wasn't paying attention to it. So... I probably just shot a bunch of junk, right? There we go. Can you get any of that? Does that look like it? Because I think that this camera does a pretty good job of getting up close on things. When I put it up close, it looks good, right? You know what would be good to do? Would be to find a piece of land that has a lot of deciduous forest on it, and what's the evergreens and all that kind of stuff, and then just sort of make your own trail through it. Like, set as your goal, you're going to build a kind of an unofficial trail. I don't know where you'd want to do that. Someplace where nobody else is going to find your trail. You don't want, I mean, that's the whole purpose. It's your secret trail, right? So, make it someplace fairly easy. Like, say, for example, this. I have no idea what I'm taking the photograph of. So I'm taking a photograph of wow, this is going very badly indeed. What the hell? Come on. Yeah, so whatever that was, I don't know. I wasn't looking at it. Yeah. And it's upside down. And the controller isn't working. Yes, that's really irritating. Because, yeah, all I want it to do is point down and it won't. Fuck. Okay, I gotta just turn it off for a second. Yeah, you get out in the forest a bit. You don't want to be struggling around with your gear. You gotta be like climbing under. So you just make a trail. Just go through that once, go through there twice, and but do it someplace really interesting, but that doesn't have any trail. So you're for real in the bushes, and go back to the same place a whole bunch of times at different times of the year, and then yeah, my. I can't, now it won't point up. It doesn't look good pointed up anyway. But, so how's that look? Yeah, I'm a mess, eh? Yeah, I don't know what's the deal with the gimbal. But, this is the sort of yellow I wanted, but I can't get, the gimbal won't point up. You know, I want to do my tree thing, right? Anyway, yeah, so build a shell. It has to go someplace. That's, you know, it'd be not quite all there if it didn't go someplace, right? I wouldn't do one of these trails that people already sort of built already. And the casual economy. Stay away from those people. So that's absolutely pointless, eh? Wow. The gimbal is not working. Okay, so what happens when I just turn the gimbal off? So, gimbal off, what happens? Nothing happened. Okay, what happens when I turn it on? Okay, that happened. I was hoping that might happen. I thought that might happen. Yeah, so this is, you know, sort of what I was dreaming about. Oh, and it's even sort of pointing upwards now. Isn't that so kind of it to finally kick in? Yeah, all that mess from before, that's because I couldn't get it to do this. But now that it has, not complaining. Pretty interesting, but underlit foliage. Blackberries. Even the blackberry. Okay. Those are shriveled up blackberries. Shriveled up right on the vine. There's a whole bunch of them here. I wonder what that they'd be like. Let's see. Oof. They're stuck on there pretty good. Yeah. Wow. Look at them all. These are expensive. Kind of makes you wonder why there weren't guys out picking these. I mean, they don't seem to have much else to do. Couldn't some of the guys, pick some blackberries? I think that that you've been living in an era when a really awful ideology was held sway. Because suddenly, what happens, I think this would be an indication. I'm pretty sure I could think of a few examples of this. For me to say, the homeless people get, I guess, a basic subsistence or something, could pick blackberries. And that's like a radical thing, right? It sounds radical, but it's just common sense. The common sense things sound radical. Pretty sure I could think of another example of that from recently, but it's getting a little dark. I think I might want to be focused on where I'm going, especially since I've never been here before. Just getting to know the neighborhood park for a stroll in the evening. It feels really nice. The thing is that I'm looking at the screen and mucking around with the gimbal and forgetting to enjoy this. It is really nice. I know this is a stupid video and everything, but yeah, I'm moving too fast. Moving the camera too fast. I think that's a good rule of thumb. If you don't have the patience to stand still, don't turn on the camera. If you don't have the energy to stand still. How's this gonna look? Just curious. Wow. I like that. So exposure control in this thing has got to just really suck, right? Because these aren't like huge variations in light. I mean, it's practically dark. And I'm getting flashes like that, right? I think I need a new camera. That's what I think. I think this one sucks. Tap the bright spot. There it is. Yeah, it could take time for that to tap the bright spot. That's it. Tap the bright spot. Now I've got it. It's funny, some things you got to get down in words before you actually get them down, like physically. Tap the bright spot. That's it. Tap the bright spot. I mean, I've been talking about this for weeks, I think, actually. My struggles with the AF law. And it's the first time I've come up with a phrase. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. I have nothing to live for. Looks like nothing's gonna come my way. Hey, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. I got nothing to live for. Looks like nothing's gonna come my way. Hey, I got nothing to live for. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. I got nothing to live for. Looks like nothing's gonna come my way. Hey, Flash. Sống về bị à? That's the Chinese dialect, but I can't understand a word of it. Nothing. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. Hope I'm not ruining this video. My incessant wailing. Because we've come across a cricket match. Cricket. You know what you play cricket. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. I got nothing to live for. Looks like nothing's gonna come my way. Hey, whoopie, whoopie doo, doo 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 doo. It's doo doo doo. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. What's happening? Wow. Knock the hell out of that one. Can't say I know anything about the game. It's got a good crew. Fans. No women. Not a woman in sight. Sitting here resting my bone, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. Cricket's a lot of standing around, it seems like. Let's wait for something to happen. Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. Ready? Oh, here it comes. Wow. Bow. He missed it. No resounding crack as the cricket ball hit the stick. They probably have a special name for the sticks, right? Cricket. Bat. Yeah, they're called cricket bats. They're bats. They're solid chunks of wood. I think it must really hurt to hit a ball with those things. The ball's really hard and it's just wood. I don't think they've got padding or anything. Maybe they do now. Sitting here resting my bone, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. I got nothing to live for. Looks like nothing's gonna come my way. Hey, 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 hey. "2,000 miles I run just to make this dock my home." So I just tapped the brightest bit there and it didn't make any difference at all because there's no brightness in it. "2,000 miles I run just to make this dock my home." Oh, brightest spot. See, I tapped the brightest spot, and even that, now I can't remember to do it actually. There you go. Like I made a mistake. I tapped it on the thing I wanted to see, which is understandable enough. You want to see it better, you tap it better. But I didn't necessarily want to see the detail. I wanted it to look better. It's sometimes not the same thing. You have to sacrifice clarity for balance, the right shade. I find it incredibly challenging to produce these films every day for you. Few audience members that I have. The lonely cry. Train, is it? Lumbers through the station. Adios Park. Kind of cool, isn't it? Pretty soon it'll be time we have to say goodbye to the park. Hello to the modern world. Goodbye, modern world. I got nothing to live for. See that? Connected, isn't it? But the old one was "Goodbye, Cruel World," and it was, you're laughing at the person saying it. It's kind of very tough. Right? Oh, the world's cruel, so I'm going to do myself in. Goodbye, cruel world. But I bet it isn't funny at all. And some people say that. You say one little thing on this thing, like, I got nothing to live for. And so you're doing this and you go, okay, so if somebody hears this stupid thing, are they going to think, that he's really thinking about doing himself in. Probably not. Right? If they've watched the rest of the, it's not exactly the attitude of a guy that's going to do his head in. I don't think do his head in, do himself in is what I meant to say. No, but you're led down that path because of the thing that you said at the beginning, right? And then the way that it went, actually, the thought process. Sometimes it's interesting to go, yeah, what you just said was totally nonsensical, but then figure out like what it actually meant. So when I was leaving the park, I thought, goodbye park, and then I thought, goodbye cruel world, and then I went, goodbye cruel park, which doesn't have anything to do with what I was talking about in the beginning. I got nothing to live for, that thing. There's no connection. But now you've said two things about death. So you're thinking, okay, so people are going to think that actually, well, they weren't necessarily thinking it. They just feel something. Oh, he's mentioned death twice, so that must be, that's a downer or whatever, It's interesting. Language is interesting. When I look at it, I like to, what I'm really interested in linguistics is when you have a chance to sit down and try and figure something out for yourself. Because a lot of linguistics is just memorized, just gazillions of facts. Linguistics is just too difficult for most people. They don't have the energy to spend memorizing it, so you have to have like a really super keen memory and be really analytical and that kind of thing. Be really good at sorting things into categories and stuff like that. It's really just high IQ stuff. Linguistics it's high IQ stuff. And I don't have a high IQ. I know that I don't have a high IQ because an IQ talks about certain things. Can you remember things, and can you synthesize? And there's certain things that intelligence is. And chief among them is just the ability to remember something and answer a question later. Like, it's a big deal. You either know stuff or you don't know stuff. You can't really say something. You could say they're intelligent. Maybe they have creative ideas or something. But you can't say they're a high IQ if you don't have a good memory. It's just the basis of it. Unless you think you can accomplish something going through life without knowing anything. It's an interesting thought. I think you'd have a tough time. So if I go this way now, I'm locked in. On this path, this trip through the neighborhood, you get kind of locked in here because there's all these construction projects. Sitting here, resting my bones. Okay, there's a big fella over there. I don't want him thinking I'm photographing him.